بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to today's broadcast. It is Tuesday, the 14th of March 2023, and in our broadcasts, this is broadcast number 399, and we are discussing the words of chapter 2 Al-Baqarah, verse 108. And this is the sixth broadcast in our discussion of the words of this verse of the Holy Quran. These broadcasts are brought to you by LASER, Lahore Ahmadiyya School of Education in Religion, which is an institution of the Lahore Ahmadiyya movement or Ahmadiyya Anjuman Ishaat Islam. The Ahmadiyya movement was established by Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib of Qadian. And he taught us that although other Muslims say that after the Holy Prophet Muhammad, the Prophet will come, this cannot be correct because the Holy Quran says that the Holy Prophet Muhammad is Khatamun Nabiyyin, and the Holy Prophet himself explained the meanings of this term by saying, Ana Khatamun Nabiyyin, La Nabiyya Ba'd. There is no prophet after me. So now, neither an old nor a new prophet can come. And this worried the companions, Razillah Ta'ala. And they asked what will happen if Muslims need guidance in the future. And the Holy Prophet said that God will raise Mujaddideen, reformers, to guide them. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad was one such Mujaddid. Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad also explained that the Messiah and Mahdi spoken of in the Hadith are not two different people, but they describe the two aspects of a mujaddid's work. And he explained that these titles were applicable to him. He taught that these problems arise because Muslims do not consider their basic sources in the correct order. If a hadith contradicts the Holy Quran, then they say that the verse of the Holy Quran is abrogated, which can't be right, because the correct sequence of our sources is first comes and foremost comes the Holy Quran. Then comes Sunnat or actions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad. Then comes Hadith or the sayings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, as reported by other people and as recorded 100, 150, up to 300 years after the Holy Prophet had passed away. And he thought that others believed that some prophetic revelation, like Ayah Rajam, is missing from the Holy Quran, and other prophetic revelation which is in the Holy Quran is cancelled, is abrogated. And he taught that none of that is correct. Nothing has been left out of the Holy Quran, and nothing in the Holy Quran was, is, or ever shall be abrogated. So it's important for us to realize these things. Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad also explained that jihad is a duty of every Muslim, but jihad as defined by the Holy Prophet Muhammad, who, when returning from fighting, said that Muslims are returning from the minor jihad to the major jihad, which is jihad with their own souls, with their own selves. And of course, on these and other things, Lahori Ahmadis, as we are called, we disagree and differ with other Muslims. But we don't call anyone a kafir, because the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that if one reciter of the kalima says to another reciter of the kalima, you are a heretic, you are a kafir, then this edict returns and falls upon the person saying it. By this saying, the Holy Prophet was trying to impress upon Muslims how seriously he regarded calling each other heretics and kafirs and so on. So let us go to today's topic. As I said, it's verse 108 of Al-Baqarah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أم تريدون أن تسألوا رسولكم كما سئل موسى من قبل ومن يتبدل الكفر بالإيمان فقد ضل سواء السبيل. And its English translation, if I can read it, is: you would rather wish to question your messenger, as Moses was questioned before. And whoever adopts disbelief, and whoever adopts disbelief instead of faith, he indeed has lost the right direction of the way. So today we are going to look at the word al-kafara. So let me get my notes. Its root is kafara, and we find 14 words made with these 3 letters. And in total, they occur in the Holy Quran 525 times. Uh, 289 times as kafara, and 129 times as kafirun. And then what do we have? 37 times kufr, and 27 times as kafir, and 14 times as kafara, and 12 times as kafur, and so on. And if you look, kafaru, chapter 2, verse 6, disbelief, rejecting, denying, disbelief. Will they deny it? Will you deny it? Etc. Reject. All these are its meanings, but they are based upon the fundamental and the basic meaning of this word, which is to cover something or hide something. In one dictionary, as an explanation, it said that if you have someone who's fully dressed in armor, so that you can't see any part of his body, then the person who is so hidden is called kafir. Darkness, night, the same word is used for that. Actually, darkness in any way. It may be caused by the night, it may be caused by dark clouds, it may be caused by water. Why? Because what they're doing is they're hiding something. They're covering up things. Night, when the sun is not there and light is not there, that covers up everything that's outside. This is why we have street lights and so on. Dark clouds especially do the same thing. Water in the form of rivers and seas does the same thing. You go to the beach and walk into the water and look down. You can see a short distance, but not really what is in the depth of the seas. This is why people in submarines, they go down and they see all manner of animals and vegetation that has evolved in accordance with its circumstances. Darkness, lack of light, heavy pressure of water on it, and so on. Whatever is inside, whatever is in it is hidden. The same word is used for the farmer. Why? Because he takes a seed and he pushes it into the compost or ground or whatever, and the seed is hidden in there. The same word is used for the grave. And now you know why. Because it hides the body. So, it's opposite, or it is the opposite. Kafir is the opposite of Mu'min, the believer. Because what the believer does is to make known, to announce those truths that God has revealed to him. And what's the opposite of that? A person who tries to hide such truths. But this doesn't just apply to religion, though it's because of this, it being opposite of Mu'min, has caused it to become associated only with denial of the Holy Quran and Godhead and the Holy Prophet Muhammad and so on. But it applies to other things as well. Some people deliberately hide their abilities. Some people deliberately hide how their business is doing or their circumstances. And that's very interesting. It's just occurred to me that people who hide how well they are doing financially, they do it because they don't want to help other people. And they think, aha, if others find out how well off I am, if they have difficulty, they'll come to me and they'll ask for help. So as a precaution, I will pretend that, okay, so I'm making ends meet, but, it's not really great and so on. Can you see the interesting contradiction in this? They pray to God to make their business prosper and give them more money and all this kind of thing and make things easy and whatever. But in the Holy Quran, God says that you should color yourself in God's colors. But when it comes to covering themselves in God's colors, and that is just like God helps them and their financial situation improves, that when someone comes and asks them for help in the same way they do it, they don't. And as a precaution, as I said, they pretend they're not doing so well. The expression kufran and ni'mat, that applies to that. Because God has blessed you and you're denying his blessing. You're hiding his blessings from other people. So because of this hiding of the truth, kufr is also the opposite of iman. That is, to deny, to reject. And mostly it means denying the truths of the message and messages in the Holy Quran. And as I said earlier, kufr is also the opposite of shukr, shukran. Because shukr means to make something visible and apparent so everyone can see. And kufr is to hide the same thing. And as I said, Urdu expression kufran in nemat, hiding God's blessings. And this, hiding God's blessings is also in the sense of hiding religious truths that you have come to believe and that have become apparent to you. Earlier on, the example I gave was the African American, what we now call African Americans, who were abducted from Africa and were transported as slaves and sold to plantation farmers and so on. They were tortured because they were Muslims. And what did they do? They changed their name. They changed the names of their children to make it look as if they were Christians. And gradually, over a period of time, they forgot about their faith and they lost their faith. Even now, I was reading somewhere that some copies of the Holy Quran have been found, a couple of 100 years old, where the owner, we don't know who the owner was, has made notes in sort of margins, which shows that he could read the Holy Quran and he knew Arabic and so on. There's been more than one copy. So, kafir is someone who's ungrateful, who denies the truth. But a superlative for kafir is kafuran. Absolutely the worst ungrateful person. And as I was saying, kufr is also the opposite of iman. And this is mentioned in many places in the Holy Quran. Iman is not just believing, but making it apparent who you are, what you are. And kufr is hiding that thing. So it is opposite of iman as well. And people, you see, in some places you may have to be tactful. Perhaps you are living somewhere where you're being persecuted. And you think, if I keep quiet for the sake of protecting my family and my children and so on, okay, that's understandable. But then even in those countries where there is full freedom of expression and belief and so on, many people still hide their true beliefs. Why? Well, my friends will get upset, my neighbors will get upset, and so on. Is this the argument you would have used at the time of the Holy Prophet Muhammad? Because that actually was the argument of many people at the time of the Holy Prophet Muhammad. Oh, I don't want to upset my parents. Oh, I don't want to upset my neighbors. Oh, I don't want to upset this one or that one or whatever. So what you're doing is, for the sake of human beings, you are denying God's blessings and you're rejecting them. It doesn't mean that you're not Muslim or you've gone out of the fold of Islam and so on. But, it's a slippery slope. You deny one thing and then you deny another thing and then you deny another thing and then another thing and so on. And soon you find it very difficult to actually take a stand on anything because it becomes second nature to you. It becomes second nature to you just to hide the truth and facts because you don't want to upset anyone. I was sitting with some people and Shia came and he extolled the virtues of the Shia interpretation of Islam and he slagged off the Sunni interpretation of Islam. And the host said, excellent, yes, you're absolutely right. And then that person went away and some ardent anti-Shia came and he'd seen the other person leave. So he started raving and ranting about the Shia interpretation of Islam. And the host listened to it. And after this man had finished, the host said, yes, you're perfectly right. And after this man had gone, I said to the host, I said, don't you believe in anything that you think needs to be defended and so on? And he just shrugged his shoulders. Then said, well, I'm not interested in this, so why should I annoy people by disagreeing with them? And that is the nub of the matter. We don't want to upset our relatives. We don't want to upset our friends. We don't want to upset our neighbors and so on. And so we hide the truth. We are quite happy upsetting God. Because remember, it is God who revealed this truth that we are hiding. So you think he's going to be happy? The Quran says, color yourself in Allah's colors. Does he hide things? What does he do if you're going to color yourself in Allah's colors? And that is a slippery slope. But remember this. If you have two political parties, when according to party A, members of party B, because they don't belong to them, they're not their members. See, this is the equivalent of non-members. The word kafir is the equivalent of non-members. I mean, in Britain, we have a Conservative Party and a Labour Party, and there are others. So members of Conservative Party would say members of Labour Party are non-members. They wouldn't say they're not British. They still belong to this country. And it's a similar example. And that is the point that you're beginning to move away from what is the true path. And then once you start, as I said, it's a slippery slope. Oh, this is only a little thing, that's okay. Then when you get used to that, then something else. And then something else. And so it goes on. And the result of that is that you get customs, social customs, which have nothing to do with religion, but no one has the courage to stand up and speak against them. Why? Because we don't want to annoy anyone. We don't want to upset anyone. Now, an example is how money is wasted at different times on celebrating Republic Day and this day and that day and so on. Factories are closing down. I'm talking about Pakistan, because of shortage of electricity and so on. But still, cities are lit up as if they were under the midday sun. And people are losing their jobs. But no one has the courage to say, why are we doing this? And that is the point about hiding the truth. That eventually you lose the courage. Eventually you lose the courage of standing up against what is wrong. And that is what we see, whether it's marriage customs, whether it's divorce customs, whatever it is. We know in our heart it's wrong, but we don't want to upset anyone. So we carry on. And effectively hide the truth. I think we've slightly gone over our time, so I'll take my leave of you. And inshallah, we'll meet again tomorrow and carry on with further words of this verse of the Holy Quran. Assalamu alaikum, Khuda Hafiz, and goodbye.